At Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Northwest Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 479-203-5880, or visit our website at directservicenwa.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now. At Direct Service.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Hope you guys are having a good start to your week. It is May 6th, 2024. We've got a special guest. We've had him on multiple times, none other than Blake Lovell. I'm going to get him an invite sent here momentarily, actually, as we're speaking. I do appreciate you guys that are here sharing the content. And yeah, remember to like, share, and subscribe. I don't know where there we go. It is early. I know it's an early show. Some of you are probably like, man, why so early? Why are we here so early? What are we doing, Ty? We got a long ways to go, brother. All right. Paste. Boom. Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit, obviously, with Blake coming on from Southeastern 14. Really excited because that means that with Blake here, we're going to get caught up. We're going to get his thoughts on John Calipari so far, the job that he's done, and maybe get some, we took some Patreon questions. I'm excited about that. There we go. Now I can send it. Boom. Now I can send it. We'll give him a little bit. So we'll get we'll get a little bit of time with him, but I'm really excited about doing this. It's been a minute, but I think he was the last guest that I brought on. That's been like several months ago. So yeah. It's late. What do you mean it's late, Matt? What are you talking about? Good morning, Ty and Razorback faithful. There you go, man. Yeah. If you guys have any questions or comments for me, feel free to fire away. Arkansas baseball this weekend. If I have a minute before we get Blake in here, Arkansas baseball this weekend, they dropped 2 out of 3. It looked like in game 1 they had a shot at run ruling Kentucky, and then Kentucky kind of went on from there, didn't they? They got the better of Arkansas. I will argue, and I have to agree with Eagle and Discord. I do think on a neutral field or at Baum Stadium, Arkansas probably beats Kentucky 2 out of 3, but that's not to minimize how good Kentucky is. Kentucky is a very good team. They might be better than Arkansas. They might be the team to go the distance between Arkansas, Texas A&M. South Carolina has been up and down this year, but you never know. You never know once you get into further into May, into June, just how the postseason is going to unravel. Arkansas does not have a midweek game. They won't play again till Friday, May 10th. That's at 6:30 in Fayetteville. It's the last series in Fayetteville. So, and then after that, you got to go on the road to Texas A&M. At Celtics, are you okay? How are you awake? Is he in here? Oh, he is. Yeah, there he is. Earliest I've been up in a while. All right. We did get some Patreon questions this morning, and I'm looking forward to talking to Blake about those. Appreciate the likes and retweets. I'm going to tell you guys something, though. You drop, going back to baseball here really quick. Yeah, you win game 1, 10-3. Kentucky returns the favor game 2. It looked like Kentucky was going to run rule Arkansas there for a couple of innings. They end up winning game 2, 11-3. And then game 3, I thought Arkansas was going to come back, and we've seen them come back from a 7-run deficit, but they were unable to do it. But they dropped game 3, 7-4. Stovall, easily the best hitter on this squad. Diggs, we saw kind of come out of his slump a little bit this weekend. I'm telling you, though, like there is such a difference between postseason college baseball and regular season baseball, but it starts when you start to see teams catch fire. It's around this time. It feels like it's usually the tail end of the season, going into conference. Of course, they've got Hoover coming up here soon, going into conference, into the tournament, and then into the regionals and super regionals. You just see teams catch fire. And typically when we say that, we're talking about hitting. We're talking about how much better they're hitting. And we see that batting average just start to skyrocket. And all of a sudden these guys are parking them, and also pitching is a part of that as well. Again, when we're talking about teams getting hot, it's like everything comes together. And for Arkansas, the only thing that's really hitting or missing is hitting. Is consistent hitting. We all know if they don't have to catch fire to go on a deep run. They really don't. They're not one of these teams like NC State a little while back who beat Arkansas in their own regional, who just caught on fire and they got really hot at the plate outside of their first matchup against Arkansas. And then you saw how that went down for them. And of course, we remember what happened to NC State once they got to Omaha. But the Arkansas doesn't have to do that. They have the talent. And I know the bullpen it's been a little shaky lately. I get that. But we know they've got the talent. They've got the pitching. We know this bullpen at its best is the best in the country. Starting pitching at its best is of the top in this country. And of course, Hagan makes up for a lot of that. All right, we have him on deck. Speaking of, it's probably the wrong analogy. We're jumping over to basketball. Blake Lovell from Southeastern 14. Man, long time. How you been?
I'm good. It's good to be talking about optimism again when it comes to basketball, I guess. We didn't have a lot of fun last year talking about Arkansas basketball, but we're back. Like, we finally get to have some fun and talk about the good stuff. So
oh my
that's
gosh.
Good.
It's been a wild. I mean, going back to, and I know this is kind of old news at this point. Again, it is March or it's May 6th. So it's been a little while now. It almost feels like we're moving so quickly, but who would have thought this time last year, you and I talking, and we both say, okay, Mus is going to end up at USC and Coach Calipari is going to end up at Arkansas. That would have felt so astronomical at the time, and yet here we are.
Yeah, it's probably the wildest offseason I can remember in terms of those kind of changes, because you just don't have a guy like Cal very often that's has kind of the body of work. I know the NCAA tournament stuff people will talk about, but again, you just think about what he's done as a college coach, and then of course Mus comes in and gets Arkansas, to the second weekend of the tournament, several times. And then it's like, what happened in a span of one season? Like, everything sort of changes. And all of a sudden, Mus is out, on the coast in California. Cal has gone from, the pressure-packed filled job, would have been what I think would have been probably his most stressful season in the history of his career if he had stayed at Kentucky.
Yeah.
And now he comes to Arkansas, where you got a lot of pressure, but, obviously it's a little bit different now. Where especially you talk about timing, right? It's like, if Cal's going to take this job, it's like Mus left after the, one of the Elite Eight appearances or something. Well, no, Mus left after a bad season. Fans were not pleased with him, and some were just like, hey, don't let the door hit you on the way out. It wasn't everybody, but, and now it's like timing. Cal comes in where he leaves a situation where it sort of felt like that for him in Lexington. And now he gets to start over and kind of reset and maybe try to rejuvenate himself at Arkansas with all the resources available that he's going to have. We already see that with the roster. But it's like, how could we have ever thought we were going to have this conversation? It's just, it's nuts. So
it is crazy. I guess I don't know. And I since COVID, it just feels like we've gone into the multiverse. I mean, Arkansas basketball comes back and they're kind of, you could feel it in the air. Like, wait a minute, are we going back to the Eddie Sutton or Nolan Richardson type of basketball where Arkansas is expected to make not just Sweet 16 runs, but Elite 8 runs and maybe get into the Final Four, to what's happened with the football program, for better or for worse. Baseball's still about the same despite a poor showing, as we were talking about earlier, in Lexington. And now you have Cal at Arkansas. Mus going to USC isn't as crazy. We all knew he was going to end up out west anyways. But so speaking about that, talking about Arkansas, what does this say about Arkansas basketball? And I know, of course, chicken money has a lot to do with it. What does it say about Arkansas basketball to land a Hall of Fame basketball coach? He left Kentucky on his own terms. This wasn't Kentucky firing him. This was him leaving on his own terms. It was chicken money, but whatever. What does that say about Arkansas basketball?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always, I can remember back probably, 5-6 years ago. I think it was Jeff Goodman maybe that was doing he did something where he would like talk to all the assistant coaches or something around the league and do the job rankings and everything. And there were some people I know who just got surprised by that. Like the first couple times he did it, I think they're like, why is Arkansas so high in terms of why do people think this is such a great job? I'm like, did these people just start watching basketball like, in 2017 or something? I don't know. I'm just asking, like, because it's always been one of the top jobs in the SEC, and really has always been viewed nationally as one of the better jobs out there. And so I think it just kind of is a situation where, look, we knew that this was an opportunity that you mentioned, like, we can have fun with the chicken money and all that, but it's true. Like, you're going to have the resources, you're going to have everything set up to have success at Arkansas. And I think that's what, you heard Cal say it, even when he was at Memphis, right? You think about just the geographical connection and everything. Like, he valued this job even there. Like, he knew that this was a really good job and understood that if you had the right pieces in place, you can make Arkansas into, what Nolan Richardson made it, and other coaches that have had success there. Obviously, Mus was part of that too. I know it's kind of that recency thing, but we also can't just discount what Mus did to kind of bring the job back up to where it is. And so, I think it just tells you that this is always going to be viewed as one of the best jobs in the SEC. You can keep adding teams, and sure, the SEC starts bringing in, Kansas and Carolina and Duke and all this. All right, then maybe Arkansas, we'll start having those conversations. But for now, Kentucky, Arkansas, Alabama, I think, has become one of the best jobs just because, again, it's a coach elevating a job. But historically, traditionally, that's also been probably kind of an underrated job. But I still think if you're looking at it, Kentucky and Arkansas are probably still the two jobs traditionally that you're looking at and saying, man, those are kind of must-take jobs if you're put in those scenarios where, do I have to think about it? Do I not? Like, a lot of people aren't thinking about, do I have to take the Arkansas job? I know. If people say, well, Chris Beard didn't take it and all that. Okay. But, again, there are a lot of other factors in play. But this is easily one of the top jobs in the SEC, and I don't think that's changed or will change anytime soon.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah. And Alabama, what Nate Oates has done in Alabama can't be, you can't undervalue that for sure. And obviously Tennessee still a very attractive job no matter what happens there. We know they're primed to probably go on another decent run next year. Of course, we're a long ways away from that, but we have some Patreon questions. We can just there's just a couple. But I told Patreon supporters I'd let them have a shot at some questions to Blake. This one's from Matt. Does Blake think Cal is reinvigorated to show he can adapt to today's game and make deep runs in March? And it's a two-parter question. Also, does he hit the portal this hard going forward, or was this year an exception just to field a team for the 2024 season?
I'll answer the second one first, because I think what's interesting about that, right, is, and look, the COVID year has added, I mean, it's forced teams to do, unfortunately, what Cal has not done a great job of at Kentucky, or he didn't do a great job there, and that was, load the team up with older guys. And now I think by necessity you're looking at it and saying, okay, you still want to have a situation where you're building a roster that has more than just a couple guys that are older, right? As it stands right now, they're moving towards that, I think, to where you're not just going to kind of be in a situation where, like last year, if you looked at Kentucky, Antonio Reeves, Trey Mitchell, who had the, I think, back injury or whatever, and so even at times towards the stretch in, it was just Antonio Reeves as the only kind of older guy on the roster. And so I think transfer-wise, like, that's still going to be a priority moving forward. I feel like he understands that now, and I mean, because otherwise, too, like I said, I think things are going to start to come back a little bit to where we have kind of been in that mode with the past couple seasons where it's like some teams are like, forget it. I'm never recruiting freshmen again. Like, I don't care if I land another freshman. I'm just going to go out and get all the older guys. But I think, too, what could be different about it now, like I said, if it's not just the fact that resources, I also have to just quickly tell you that, like, there was someone who told me, and I laughed, and I said, I don't mean this the wrong way, but someone said, well, he's not going to have anywhere near the resources at Arkansas as he had at Kentucky. I said, are you kidding me? I said, he may have more resources at Arkansas than he had at Kentucky. And I know people don't want to believe that. But so what I'm saying with that is, like, yes, like, he is going to be able to go out and get any transfer he wants. So, like, I think knowing that, and you, I'm sure, heard some of the stories. Like, the boosters didn't want to necessarily, and look, I don't know what's true, what's false, but boosters didn't want to give Cal all that support at this stage. They were frustrated and all this. But I think now you're going to see him lean more into the transfer portal, just because even if things start to even up a little bit, where you don't have the older teams as old as they have been, 28-year-olds playing in college or whatever, but you're still going to, I think, need that experience, because it's the way the transfer portal works now. And so he'll still add his freshmen, but he's definitely understanding now, I think, that, transfer portal is where they're going to attack. And to answer the first question with that, let's be honest. We know how these coaches operate. These coaches are very competitive. And this is something where, like you said, hey, Cal didn't get fired at Kentucky, but you better believe there was a lot of people who were trying to push him out the door. That's and true. He is going to, I think, use that as motivation. And we'll see, because, like, this is kind of the big question. It's one thing to use it as motivation and say, all right, I'm going to go back and show them that I still got my fastball or whatever. But, you got to prove it. And so I think he is determined to prove it. And I think this is, too, right? It's that fresh start. Like, at a certain point, that many years, this does everyone good. And I said I thought everyone was a winner with this whole deal. I thought Cal was a winner. I thought Arkansas was a winner. I thought Kentucky was a winner in this. And I think that's ultimately how this thing plays out. And if that's the case, that tells me Cal comes in and he starts getting Arkansas to the second weekend and beyond regularly. And it's probably because he's realizing he can't just do it with freshmen anymore. He's leaning on the transfer portal, all those things. We'll see if that's how it plays out a year or two from now.
And yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think he is. I do think he's reinvigorated, and a lot of people are making a lot out of his facial expressions. I don't know if you've noticed that, but like especially Kentucky Twitter, every time the guy's photograph is posted somewhere, oh, he looks so unhappy. My thinking is, no, I think he's determined. I think he is reinvigorated. So appreciate you, Matt, for the Patreon question. We've one other question. This is from Razor. That's his name in our Discord. Also a former Razorback. Are more international players, is that a for real option for Cal and Arkansas moving forward this year?
I mean, I would say sure, just because I think that Cal has certainly developed, that pipeline. And not just obviously Big Z is a more recent example of that, but yeah, like I think that's definitely something you look at, because too, I think what's interesting now is like you can build your international, sort of connections and all that now pretty much anywhere. because again, what does it come down to? It's just like there's money. Like how can you find ways to give somebody the best deal and give them an opportunity maybe to where it's, hey, here's why you should come play at Arkansas versus playing overseas, because we're going to be able to offer you this much more money, and you're going to be able to set yourself up and get closer to your NBA aspirations or professional aspirations, whatever they look like. And so like this year, I mean, that's the thing too, is like I'm still saying, all right, well, if you're looking at the rosters in the SEC, like there are still a couple teams that got some work to do, and of course we know who those teams are. Like it's Kentucky and Arkansas. They've still got holes to fill on these rosters, and I think it's pretty much like wide open as to how that looks, because I think that's something too, is like we used to be able to feel pretty good about accurately predicting this guy's going here, this guy's going there. The problem now is like you can't do that as much. You can still make predictions. You can go find, all the inside information wherever you need to find it, but there's still that chance until the guy is on campus and in a uniform that somebody else is going to offer, $100 more here, $1,000 more there, or $100,000 more somewhere else. And so I think that's always the challenge. And so I'm curious to see, just as a thought overall on the roster, whether international or not, who are the remaining pieces that are going to fill what I think is already, a pretty good job that he's done in terms of bringing in, again, a combination of Johnell Davis and Jonas Adu, of course, Big Z, all the potential in the world, the freshman guys, and so forth. Like, I think that's a great nucleus to start with. But if he can fill the rest of these spots with some guys that maybe aren't exactly, the same as some of these others, but look too, I mean, there are still guys out there that are pretty good players, as we know. And so, I think this winds up being a really good roster by the time he's finished here.
So that's the perfect segue to my next question, which is, and I know it's still early, and it also still feels it feels obvious to ask this, and I know what the answer is. You've already kind of given it away a little bit. How would you grade Cal so far at Arkansas? Not just the roster, but the new assistants he's brought in, and to give everyone like who's watching this after the fact, like what does the roster look like so far? You got Big Z's Vondermeer, Jonas Adu, Johnell Davis, which was huge. Yeah. Carter Knox, Boogie Flan, Billy Richmond. You got a couple of point guards in there. One of them a veteran, one of them a freshman. But combining that, what we have so far, and the coaching staff, how do you grade the job that he's done so far?
Yeah, so I mean, I think when you look at it in terms of the coaching staff, I know everybody made a lot about the Kenny Payne thing and all this, but let's be honest. Like, I get it. I understand, like, Louisville fans will be front and center for that, but this is where he needs to be, right? And I think you see how those two have worked together over the years. Like, that's an important aspect of this. Of course, they've added, Coleman and Martin. I think Coleman's going to be the associate head coach, right? I think that was the announcement they had last week.
Yeah, him and Kenny Payne are right now listed as associate head coach.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I wonder if that's just kind of a, the way they're phrasing it. But yeah, so when you think about it, from that aspect and what these guys bring to the table, I mean, certainly you got a group that recruits well, and like we said, it's not just recruiting anymore. It's a matter of just, being able to land transfer portal guys and all that. But it's everybody used he's brought the band back together. Like, he's brought back some of his guys where you feel like, okay, these are guys that have helped me have that elite level of success before at various points, and so let me get these guys back in the fold here. And so I think when you look at it from that standpoint, like we said, it sort of just seems like a mission statement from Cal to tell you, all right, like we're about to do this thing again, and we're going to show you. And when the roster, so far, like you said, Davis was, I think, just a tremendous addition. I mean, we were talking about this the other day when we did our video on him, but like, he's your first team all SEC guy, it feels like right now, that you feel really strongly about. Like, he is, probably one of the top players in the league, and I wouldn't hesitate about that. I mean, and there's a lot of good players that have come into this league, and so it's just a matter of, does he put himself in that position? But, and here's another guy too. When we put out our video on Jonas Adu, you would have thought that we called Jonas Adu like the next coming of Rodman, Malone, Olajuwon, Mutombo, like the greatest player to ever play the game. But, that's not what we were trying. We were trying to be saying, hey, we're optimistic. And what was interesting, and I know a lot of fans out there that said, well, Adu didn't play well against some of the best competition he played in. And you know what? They're not wrong. Like, he had some struggles against some of the Zach Edys and the Kalkbrenners and all that. But at the same time, I'm like, how many of those guys are you going to play night in and night out? It's fine. Guy had some struggles against those guys, but now he learns from it, or we think he can, right? And so we see, can he play better against those upper tier type guys? That's the question for Jonas Adu. But otherwise, you look at this guy. He had the numbers last year, and I think what's interesting, people don't realize this. I thought last year's SEC Player of the Year race was probably as good as I've seen in the SEC in a long time.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
You had Connect, you had Sears, you had Broom, you had Reeves, and you could keep going down the line and offer a couple of other guys. But I said, what's interesting about that is, if you looked at like Ken Palm last year, if you looked at some of the others, Jonas Adu was consistently like in the top 5 SEC players and like the all Ken Palm team, which again, take that for what it's worth. But he was in there for most of the year. Like, he was number 5 behind those other guys most of the year. And so I'm saying, you take any other year where it's just like a normal 2 or 3 man race, he's probably in the SEC Player of the Year race. And so I know he had some rough games at times against some of the better competition, the all-American type players. I get it, but I still think that guy is really good, and I think playing the way that Cal's going to play now, or at least the way we think he's going to play, I think he's huge. Love Boogie Flant, not just because, I think he's got a great name. I think it's just this guy, to me, you look at the way he plays too, and I'm like, okay, you see what Cal did last year to kind of evolve offensively. Well, here's your guy, man. Like, he's the guy who's going to make things go. Well, that's perfect because, he can be the driving force now offensively. And then you look at the other guys, like we said, Big Z's got all the potential. You add Knox, you add Richmond, 2 guys that I think will be able to help out as well. And I know there's some other rumors out there about other guys. I won't say those guys' names right now because I don't want to put the jinx on anybody. But yeah, I feel pretty good about where the roster's at right now. I feel pretty good about some of the additions they're about to make. And, like, that's the thing. It's hard. People are already asking, like, do you think we should be in the top 5 in the SEC? Do you think we should be a top 25? I'm like, there are way too many rosters still to be determined. But I said right now, when you look at it, and I can I'll tie Arkansas into this. When I look around at the league right now, to me, there are a couple teams that certainly stand out above everyone else. I think Alabama is the clear number 1, and I think Alabama could be the clear number 1 nationally.
Yeah,
and not just in the SEC.
They're
so
loaded.
If they get Sears back, they're going to be the number 1 team in the country, in my opinion. But you look at, again, I think Florida's going to be really good. I think Auburn's going to be really good. I think Missouri, whether people want to believe it or not, everybody knows I'm a Dennis Gates guy, and they know that I was sulking when they went 0 and whatever they went last year. God. But the roster he's built, my goodness, it's better than any roster I think he's had there so far. And so Texas A&M should be good. But like some of the other teams, I'm like, we'll see. Like even Tennessee. I didn't mention Tennessee in that category. I'm a little lower on Tennessee than some people seem to be. So the way I see this Arkansas roster panning out, probably the same with Kentucky. I think you're looking at 2 teams that they're NCAA tournament teams. It's just we got to figure out how they're going to fill some of these other spots and maybe some of these complementary roles that you got to have. But for now, yeah, I mean, Cal's built a really good foundation where you've got multiple all-SEC first-team guys maybe in Davis and Adu. Now we just see who joins them.
So you kind of already mentioned him a little bit, but Zvonimir, how does he fit into all this? Like, to me, he almost feels like he could be a potential X factor. I mean, he's followed Cal. We knew he was coming. I mean, it wasn't a shock that he was the first guy to follow. I think if we saw a little bit of him last year, because believe me, when I was breaking down Arkansas and Kentucky, that's all I kept watching was his film. I couldn't look away because he was from Croatia. Is that right?
Yeah.
I know he's from overseas. And I was watching his film, and I watched what little time he's had in Kentucky, and people were going nuts. I think it was the Georgia game where he had just this incredible, not a whole lot of minutes, but had some really good quality minutes. How do you think he factors into all this?
Well, it's going to be interesting because I think he kind of got an unfair rap last year too, because if you think about it, like you said, he starts with the Georgia game, and it's like no player in history maybe could have the 13 points in 16 minutes and do it as spectacularly as he did in that game. That really just, it's like, well, now you got nowhere to go but down, because you've just had one of the greatest all-time debuts, probably throwing behind the back passes for threes, like knocking down shots. It was tremendous. But keep in mind too, he got sick for a little bit. There were injury things too, I think, in play, and so like the minutes became a little more inconsistent, it was a little sporadic. But he started to play a little bit more towards the end of the season. I thought gave him some good minutes. Some of those games, especially the Alabama game, played well. Like you said, the Arkansas game played well. Cal wants to lean on him. Like I think that's when you talk about too, you're going to a guy that's going from freshman to sophomore.
Yep.
And so when you have that kind of skill set, and we've already had our fun with this. Max and I have already done, like, not even on recording, like we've just always have these conversations in text. We're like, can you imagine John Calipari playing Jonas Adu and Big Z together? What is the world in for if he does that? I don't know if he's going to have that option, but I'm just thinking, my goodness, no one's going to score on them. Jonas Adu with his defensive prowess, Big Z obviously can block shots. But it is an exciting idea when you think about just having him and seeing what he can be now in year two, after he didn't get probably as much experience as he wanted in year one, but he got enough of it in SEC play. And I think that will at least be well enough to put him in a position to, it's like if we had to predict right now, how many minutes a game does he play? I don't know. I mean, 18 to 20, does that seem reasonable? Maybe more. I would think that's probably what you're looking for, because again, if you're bringing Adu in, he's going to be kind of your main guy in the front court and all that. But I think if you're talking about getting 20 or 20 plus minutes a game from Big Z, you'll take that, because I think he's definitely someone that's going to help them keep pushing things forward offensively the way they did last year, kind of a revamp for Cal, but also, again, defensively, what he'll bring to the table too. So,
final question, and that was great. Final question. I wanted to ask you about, because we touched on Johnell just a little bit. Does he end up playing the two? Do you see him more as a combo guard? Do you see him playing the point? What is his role? And we already asked about Z's role. What is Johnell's role, do you think? And I know we still got a lot of roster to fill out, so that will also have some implications as to what he does in terms of his role. But does he end up playing the two? Is he a true point guard? Just your take on Johnell Davis.
Yeah, I think he can do anything for sure. I think the two makes more sense, just because you look at the percentages, and I think it's like you want to put him in a position where he's getting the most shots possible. I mean, I think right now, like we said earlier, it's pretty simple. If you're finding someone who needs to take the most shots on the team, well, it's right there. Like, it's very simple. Like, he has to take the most shots per game, I think. But you look at the volume that he's had previously at FAU, and like he's made the most of that. Like, even putting himself in that position. I think we look back at the numbers too. It's like last year, I think he shot 44% from three just in AAC play. That was third in the conference. Shot 41% in Conference USA the previous year. That was in top 10 in the conference. He's shooting 38% as for his career. So I think you want to make sure that you get him those kind of shots. Now, sure, he can still have the ball in his hands and find ways to do that, but I think the objective for Cal is, let's put him in the position where we can get him open and get him the most shots humanly possible, because not only that too, right? Great free throw shooter. Just percentages across the board are just, I mean, he's fantastic. And so I think that's it. Like, someone who can just do everything. And I think in that instance, that's a good problem to have, because it's like he can handle the ball as much as you need him to. He can come off screens and all that. But I think you really want him in a position where, whether that's Boogie Flame, whether that's somebody else, finding ways just to get him open on every possession, because the more you do that, the more success you're going to have, because again, he's already used to the volume aspect of this. Like, he's used to having everything on his shoulders. And remember, it's like, well, he didn't just do it for FAU. He did it for FAU, who made the Final Four. Like, it's different. Like, he was playing for a national contender, the past couple seasons. And so I think, I think the two makes more sense, but that's just because I think you want to get him as many looks as you possibly can. I just think he's that good. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think because he is a combo guard. I mean, he could, and you're right, he could play the one or the two. Kind of makes me wonder if they don't go after another older point guard.
Yeah,
maybe
they need
someone who doesn't light you up offensively in terms of points, but someone who high assists, can see the field and make play or help others, put them in the right position to make big plays. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm excited to see how this unfolds. I still got, I think, 7 spots left. If I looked at that right. So it's going to be,
I think it's 6 or 7. Yeah.
It's going to be fun to watch, man. I'm sure I'll bring you on again and we'll talk about it again, man. I always enjoy having you on. Thanks for being on.
No, you got it, Ty. I mean, we basically got another half a team to talk about at some point. So
I know we still got to get through the rest of the roster.
We've got the top 6 or 7 right now. We still got a lot more to go. So always enjoy it. It's like I mentioned, it's fun to have these kind of conversations again, because it's anytime you have a coaching change, and this, I don't even know if this qualifies because this is just like a bizarro world scenario, but it's a lot of fun. So
it is.
Always enjoy it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on, and I'll be in your DMs, I'm sure, pretty soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ty. Appreciate it, man.
Take it easy. That is Blake Lovell from Southeastern 14. He had to run. He's got a meeting. I guarantee you, if we had another 2 hours to talk, we could have filled that time, and maybe one day we'll do that show. Maybe one day we'll do the just a pod and just kind of discuss. Let me it's obviously not this is not an updated, I call this the red wall. That's not updated, but I need to get the sponsors on here. So yeah, just ignore it. We are obviously not talking about these topics. But yeah, I of course I love having Blake on. We're unable to do this without Patreon supporters. Shout out to them. And of course, sponsors. Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. They offer same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes. Better than best results. Give them a call today at 501-244-3667. Remember, free estimates. Just check out their link. You can go to our Discord. They're literally on the top left-hand side of Discord if you need to reach out to them, or their link is provided for you down below. Of course, Insurance Max. Business, personal, life and health insurance, retirement. They cover all 4 corners of our glorious state here in Arkansas. Give them a call today. Their number is provided for you in their website. The link is provided for you down below. Again, that's Insurance Max. So, yeah, just, again, ignore this wall. If you're coming in here and you're like, wait a minute, what about Adu? This is an older wall. I'm using StreamYard, and you have to manually upload all these different graphics. And that's the one graphic I did not update. And I don't think I have one that makes sense. So, anyways, yeah, just wanted to put the sponsors. Hey, they pay for that spot, by God, and they're going to get it. Yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, fire away. I liked what he said. You know, he had a lot. There's a lot there. There's a lot of that's why I enjoy having Blake on. He delivers it clearly, and you could tell he's excited about SEC basketball is where it's happening. And I stand by what I said with Mus. If you're leaving, granted, Arkansas fans aren't complaining right now. Nobody is. I think Kentucky fans, some of them are having a hard time buying in, but it looks like things are turning in a positive direction for Kentucky basketball. But who cares? This is where all the action is. And if you're leaving after one poor year, I still think Mus was running away. I stand by that. I think Mus was running away. And that is really unfortunate, for him, because he leaves. Arkansas gets Cal. Chicken money comes along. It wasn't there before. It's there after. It's there after he leaves. There's chicken money. There's money. Who cares if it's chicken money? I don't care. Further proving the point that the money is here. We know you can win here. I mean, and it's not like Mus did a bad job in the portal. Of course he did a great job in the portal. He did a great job recruiting McDonald's All-Americans out of high school. But Cal, it feels like, and I said this last week, or maybe it was the week before last, the success that he had got you Cal. All that success got you Cal. I don't know I mean, obviously, maybe in another dimension, had Mike Anderson still been here, had he not been fired after year 8, I don't know that you get someone like Cal. If we're talking about 2024, again, that's a whole different, because then you got to look at what Mike had done his time here and what would he have done after that, 5 years later, what does it look like, but regardless, or if Cal, I don't know, was still at somewhere like Memphis, and he had never been at Kentucky, I still don't think you lure in a Cal after Mike. I mean, I don't know. That's another universe. That's a very complicated, that's difficult to really peel apart, because there's so many variables to that. But in other words, Mus got you, Cal. The success, being able to build off the foundation that Mike did build. Mike Anderson did reinvigorate. We talk about reinvigorating. Is John Calipari, is he reinvigorated? Fans after Mike Anderson came back around to Arkansas basketball a little bit. Well, quite a bit. You got your practice facility. You got the upgrades to Bud Walton Arena. You were modernized, thanks to, Jeff Long obviously had a big role in all that. And because of all of that combined with Mike Anderson kind of being the catalyst, or maybe you could say Jeff Long was really, say what you want about Jeff Long, but he did do some good as the athletic director at Arkansas in his time here. All of that ultimately led way down the line. Without it happening, I don't think you get Cal at Arkansas. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys think, oh, it's Arkansas, of course, and his friendship with John Tyson kind of trumps everything, and there's truth in that as well. Again, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. I appreciate you being here. Eric was horrible in the portal after 23 season. Okay. Well, I mean, that's chemistry is what you can't measure, Will. There's no way Mus could have known that the chemistry just wouldn't evolve. I would argue, no, he actually did really well out of the portal. He didn't get everybody, but in terms of rank, he did pretty well. He did really well out of the portal, as a matter of fact. In terms of individual rank, the problem was, I think your argument should be the product on the floor did not match the recruiting rankings. What happened on the floor didn't match. You always hear, it sounds good on paper. Boy, that communism sure does sound good on paper. Everybody's equal. But in practice, it's horrific. Well, that last year was that version of communism. It looked good on paper. Oh, my God, look how great they are. In practice, it wasn't good because you can't measure. You can't analyze chemistry. You can't do it. So he swung and missed on chemistry. I'll agree with that. No, overall, I think he was he got the nickname in Porter for a reason. And yeah, that was before this last season, but I think he still did pretty well out of the portal. Yeah, but again, Will, just because, okay, but you're arguing philosophy. You're not arguing chemistry. Those are two different things, my friend. Two different things. Chemistry is, I would argue chemistry is 75%. Or at least maybe 50%, and then obviously talent and coaching philosophy and all that other stuff kind of follows. Chemistry matters more in basketball than maybe any sport outside of water polo. I don't know. Is water polo? Anyways, yeah, chemistry and philosophy are two different things, and they just didn't have it. And we got a taste of what Tremont Mark could do, right? What Battle could do. We got a taste of what these guys. We saw Davenport come off the bench a little bit and have a little bit of success. We saw him like, okay, all right, he can grab the shot and just knock down a three. He can get a quick 6 points off the bench in a few minutes. He was capable. It was never consistent enough, right? Well, yeah, okay. I'm not going to have – yeah, they didn't have chemistry. But again, I don't know what if you're just arguing, well, they fit him because he could play defense, so that means what are you saying? Are you saying that means he's bad out of the portal? Because I would disagree in terms of what he was recruiting, what he was analyzing, and what he was seeing on film. I would argue maybe I don't know. You can't ask coaches, hey, I'm recruiting your player, what's his chemistry like? You can't do that. At least I don't think you can. Maybe coaches do have this kind of hidden I don't know. Maybe they do have this, like they're in a mass group chat together, and Mus is texting. He's texting these guys like, "Hey, how's so and so's defense? How is he? How is he at pick and rolls? How's his screen game? How's I don't know that you could do that. Obviously, because some of these guys, you do question how much film he actually watched on some of these guys. Was he looking at rank off a recruiting site, or was he looking at how much film was he really watching? There are a couple of guys that I thought he brought in that I thought that was kind of a question, like especially the guys that you got later. Ty, are we expected to commitment anytime this week? Are we? I'm anxious to see what the roster will be like next season. So Monday is usually my catch-up day. I haven't had time to. I don't know. I think last week we thought there was a good shot. Who were the players? I had a list of their names here. Nurchad Omir, whatever, the kid from Miami. He ended up committing today, I believe it was today, to Baylor. And he was someone everybody wanted, 6'7", 240. No, I guess this was yesterday. Yeah. This was yesterday. He committed to Baylor. You're still looking at there's names, DJ Wagner was another one you guys were asking about. I don't think we have an update on him. You talk about going and grabbing an older point guard. There's somebody, at least he's not older. I shouldn't say that. Pryor was another guy, a forward, 6'10", 200-pound forward. Would love for him to add a little meat on his bones. Out of South Florida. He enrolled at South Florida last year. I don't know his offers. He played small forward in high school. He's from Ann Arbor. And he's considered, according to 247, a 3-star transfer portal, a portal rank, 6'10", 200 pounds out of Link Academy High School before going to South Florida. I don't think he transferred. No, that's right. Okay, no. He is an older player. See, there's so many of these guys in the portal. Yeah, he was at Boise State. That's right. He is he was from Boise State. Wow. 2019. He committed. He signed November 13th, 2019, and then he enrolled in 2020, and then he didn't pop back up until 2023 at South Florida. Okay, so there's a pretty big gap there. But anyways, Pryor is one of those names. I don't think we have an update on him just yet. Again, DJ Wagner is the big one. He was a former 5-star prospect, a big-time combo guard. Pretty good size. Another 6'3", 6'4", a guy who could play the one or the two, most likely. It would be, he'd be a great kid for a point. So we don't know just yet. I guess we'll find out. Smell it. You need to go back and read Discord, bro. You need to go back. You were bragging on how well you predicted the ranking, the top 25 ranking for baseball. I think you need to go back. I don't know if you've gone back and actually read. I invite you. I implore you to go back. I responded to your comment. I appreciate all the like and shares. Again, Patreon, you guys. We had a lot of movement this time in Patreon, but I do appreciate you guys for being members. We have our giveaway. As you saw, if you were here at the beginning of the show, we have the list updated. So that means we're going to be doing a giveaway. You'll look, Dad. That's right, son. But Alex Collins, Joe Ferguson, Ken Hamlin, those are the Patreon cards that are on deck right there, baby. Former Arkansas players. There's Ken Hamlin, Joe Ferguson. And then, of course, for Patreon, for legendary status, this is for last month. We're doing the spin sometime this week. Hell, it might even be tonight. I don't know. What a way to start the week, giving away some cards. So, yeah, looking forward to that. I do appreciate Patreon supporters. Put that thing. Get that. No one is talking about Musselman after bringing in Cal. Cal is all Kentucky can talk about still, says Razorback fan. Okay. Congratulations to Mike Anderson for being inducted into the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame, says Philip White. Oh, this is a really good point by Kate Dreyer. I don't think Eric was happy all year. You guys remember, for those of you who are in the postgame shows here on Tuss Talk, the best postgame show for Arkansas sports here on YouTube, I said all along, there's something just doesn't feel right. And this was before the Louisville. You remember he's going to Louisville. Some of you were trying to convince me it's a done deal. And you almost had me, especially after Blake said he was hearing the same thing. You guys almost had me. I was almost bought in. I was so close. But I remember saying even before that, something is off. I feel like Mus he just seems elsewhere. And I've watched so many coaches post games going all the way back to Bobby Petrino. And when they just started uploading them online, I've seen so many post games, and you can just kind of tell when a coach is like, watch Sam in 2020, 2021, parts of 2022, and then watch this last year in all of his post games. You could see a huge difference, whether it's mannerisms, the tone of his voice, the way he responds, whether he responds quickly, if he hesitates. You pick up on all these things. I'm really good. That's the one thing I think I've picked up on since doing this, is I pay even more attention to just not necessarily always the things that they say, but the way they say them, right? And I could tell something was off about Mus. And obviously Pittman last year I don't know that he was ever really panicking for his job, but you knew he wasn't real thrilled. And I think that goes without saying, but it's still interesting how you could, if you compare the way his post games went, obviously you're not thrilled after losing, but I can remember even after some wins, he just didn't seem it was almost like, well, we won. We won. I don't know. XP wheel spin 2. Yeah, I think we probably will. Yeah, we've got to do another giveaway. We have to do it. We got to do it this week at some point. Yeah, you were close. Yeah, but you said out of the top 5, Smelliot, son. You said out of the top 5. Arkansas, we don't know we're D1. 5 and 6, same thing. They fell, like I said. Well, everyone knew Arkansas was gonna fall. But you felt like you said that Arkansas would fall out of the top 5, and I just didn't see it happening. We'll see what happens with D1. D1 typically likes Arkansas a little bit more. Oh, goodness. Yeah, so basketball, we're still filling out the roster. I am so fascinated with what they do. Again, we've got some names we're keeping an eye on. Patreon supporters if there's any breaking news, man, it's happening in our Patreon in Discord. We're covering it. Okay, so Will says we're 5 in D1. So yeah, they didn't fall in the top 5 in any of the major polls. Yeah, I'm feisty. It's Monday morning and I'm all jacked up on Monster Rehab green tea. 0 sugar, baby. But I am very curious to see what he does if they can land an older point guard, a guy with at least a year of being out of high school and in the SEC or wherever. We know the portal window. We know it's going to, we've got movement. We still got to wait a little bit. So far, you got 3 arriving freshmen and 3 transfers. It is literally split right down the middle. We'll see what they do as far as age. If he looks for older guys or if he looks for guys that are maybe just 1 year removed or 2 years removed from high school, they've had a couple of years. If he goes for seniors, graduates, if he's looking for high school, how much of these last, whatever it is, 7 spots, what he ends up doing. But yeah, I'm curious to see where this ends up going. I'm really fascinated to see how this class, the next, and I do believe, just guessing, I feel like we should be expecting a commitment here soon. Don't know when. And whenever the windows start to rotate, once we get into the next, you wonder how much different. We're sitting here talking about Big Z, Adu, Davis, Knox, Flan, and Richmond. Are there going to be some names that they add in the coming months that almost maybe don't trump these names, but feel as big? Maybe you do land a big surprise here soon that feels like, wow, okay, there's maybe the best player on the roster, or there's the second best player on the roster, or the third best player. There's our point guard, right? There's the guy that's going to get quality minutes playing the 3 or the 4. It's going to be really fun to watch this all kind of unpack and unload. Again, this live show made possible thanks to Insurance Max. Business, personal, life, and health insurance. They've got you covered. They've got retirement as an option too on their website. Go check it out. Link is provided for you down below. Again, if you live within the state of Arkansas, they cover all 4 corners. Reach out to Wes at insurancemax.online. The link is also in our Discord. And of course, direct service overhead, the Garage Door Company. Free estimates, quality parts, affordable outcomes. Give them a call today at 501-244-3667. I always love it when you guys reach out to me after you've either, back when Oddsole was a sponsor, like, man, we went into Oddsole and, we loved it, or man, we used direct service overhead. It was awesome. Someone said in our live show, I think that was last week or week before last, I felt like when they met Travis, they were meeting a celebrity. I think it was an electrician who came through a couple weeks ago. Or hell, it might have been last week. He's like, it's like I met a celebrity. And I'm like, yeah, but did he do the job? Like, what'd you think of the job? Or was he working on your house? How was the job? But I always get, if anyone interacts with me, and Travis has kind of said the same thing when it comes through my show, everyone, again, hundreds of 5-star reviews. I mean, they are, direct service overhead is legit. I can speak to it. Like I've mentioned multiple times, they're responsible for my garage door, and they did an awesome job. So again, help out local businesses, right? I am a local business advocate. I'm going to always shout them out. Even if they're not sponsors, I'm going to always implore to you guys to go to try to shop local. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to order off Amazon or Walmart too. I'm going to shop at Walmart or Harps. They're both technically local if we're going to get technical about it. But, when it comes to restaurants, I try to keep local businesses in mind. At the very least, I'm going to give them a shout out here. Again, whether they're sponsors or not. Speaking of which, Flying Burrito, did you guys see that car drove through the drive-through last week? Man, I'm gonna go there this week. And if you're in town, go check out Flying Burrito. I might drop off my business card, be like, hey, if you guys want a little more love, just saying, Tuss Talk is here. But they have the best steak nachos. Oh my God, it's the best 4 pounds of food you'll ever eat in a single sitting in your life. What's up with these ads? I'm sorry, man. Ads are ads. YouTube's YouTube. It is YouTube. Smell it. I mean, oh no, we got an ad. Oh God. Maybe you should sign up for YouTube Premium or whatever it is. I have it. It's wonderful. It keeps going up though. I'm not a fan of that. After hearing that Danielle, wait a minute. Is this anti-Danielle Musselman propaganda in my chat? Didn't want to be. I went back, couldn't find a single picture. Yeah, I don't know about that. That's Danielle loved it here. That's all I've ever heard. So yeah, I'm not gonna. Sorry, Razorback fan. I'm not gonna read that whole thing out loud because I won't stand for that. She's a sweetheart, and I've heard people who have interacted with her that she was all hog and she loved the area. If we add Pryor, are we adding a guy with first round potential? Firmly believe the storm is coming. I don't know. Pryor's a really good player, and I think that's a given. The question is that going to be, how many more of those caliber guys are they going to add? Like, how many NBA potential players are they going to add? Pryor is almost a double guy. I mean, this is a guy that's like 13. I think he was 13 or 14 points a game. 9 rebounds or something. 45% overall shooter. He was 35% outside. Didn't turn the ball over a ton. 247? 247 says he's from Ann Arbor, Michigan. What is ESPN? Where's ESPN? I'll have to pull him up here in a minute. I've read multiple places too in terms of his weight. I've also read somewhere that he was 6'10", like 210, and I don't remember who that was. That might have been ESPN when I was checking his notes. There's a million. Yeah, here's Will. There's a million pics of Danielle in hog gear. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know where that's coming from. Where's this coming from? Alohog says she is sweet. Met her at Brandon Landing. I talked to someone not long ago who said she was decked in hog gear from head to toe. So I don't know where she didn't like Arkansas. I don't know where that's coming from. There it is. Kate says, no ads with premium. It keeps going up, though, Kate, and I'm a little upset about that. If you're just joining, ignore the red wall. It is incorrect. I didn't have a proper one. We didn't put this thing together until late last night. And, of course, when I get up, I got to get the kids to school. I didn't really have all the time in the world to fill out my Blake level questions for Blake, get all the graphics uploaded, get the new Patreon name scroll. The one thing I forgot is this damn red wall. So please ignore that. I just want to get the sponsors on the screen. All right, Lance. Okay, calm down, sir. Is it 19 a month now? Because, see, I'm only paying like 13. Yeah, if it gets up that high, I'm just going to cancel it. I swear I just got a bill and it said 12 or 13 bucks. But if it gets up that high, I'm going to cancel it. I don't care. Ads don't really bother me that much. They really don't. It's just nice to pick between Joe Rogan, Club Random. It's nice to just be able to go to the next thing without an ad. Did you guys see Seinfeld? His new movie is out. I've heard it's not very good. Unfrosted. Well, he's doing his rounds with the media, and he was on. I know some of you probably hate Bill Maher. I watch Bill Maher. I like Club Random, and he was on Club Random this week. So yeah, if you want to know what I do when I'm not doing stuff for Tuss Talk, I watch a little, get into some Joe Rogan clips, and then I just sit and watch the hell out of Shane Gillis comedy. Oh, Branson Landing. Okay, all right. Eagle says it's worth it, man. Eagle says it's worth the $19. I don't know that I'm going to pay $19 a month. I don't know that I'm going to pay $19 a month to just not have ads. I really don't care. I do wish they would give content creators a discount. People who've uploaded maybe a certain amount of videos or who average a certain amount of viewers a month or something. I wish they would give us discounts, but whatever. Plus comes with YouTube Music. I have Apple Music, so I don't use it, but I may have to check that out. Yeah. All right. Make sure you guys, again, check out Discord. If you're not already in there, go. I don't know why you're not. There's some of you who comment in here often, and you're I don't see you in Discord, or if you're there, you're quiet. But if you're there, you ought to check it out. If you're a Patreon supporter, you definitely want to be there. We topped, what was our number? Over 100 total members now. That's back-to-back months. Over 100 members. I'm going to upload. I've been uploading more and more content there. We've got 106 total members. Now, obviously, some of those we're seeing a growing amount of people coming over, trying it out for free, and that's awesome. You can sign up for free. You're going to get almost 90% of content there is $4 or more. But I'm going to start uploading more stuff there, and I've also got a little surprise for Discord later. Not a real big deal, but it's something I got added into our Discord. I'm really happy about it. So I'm going to give you guys, Patreon supporters, going to give you a little treat later today if I can find the time. I'm kind of swamped today. I got to take the puppy to the vet here in like 20 minutes. So, but yeah, looking forward to that. Also, it's $13 for an individual. Yeah, okay. So I've got the individual. That's what it is. That's not that bad. That's good. There you go. There you go. Greedy bastards. $20. Not to drive you nuts, says a low hog. All right, that is going to do it. Again, I appreciate you. Go check out Patreon if you want to further support a small independent channel. I'd really appreciate it. I don't have $1 million backer. I'm not a part of any, recruiting website or any major website. It's just me. I'm just here. And if you want to help support a local, speaking of local small business, check out Patreon. $4 a month, and you get stuff in Discord. You're going to get some more stuff here soon in Discord, or different type of content in Discord. You get the uploads on Patreon. Again, some of this you're going to see in multiple places. As long as you're a Patreon supporter, though, you're going to have access to everything. $4 a month, man. And if you want to take it a step further, maybe you're competitive in our XP that we do. We're in the middle or coming up on the end of the current cycle that we're in. But if you want to get in on that, it's a lot of fun. Check it out. Join, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. But all right, I'm going to go take this pup to the vet. And I look forward to seeing you guys later on in the week. We'll be back. I'm sure we're going to have something to react to this week, I'm sure. But if not, this video will probably be, I'll put some more content out this week. This video will be here today, obviously. And then one way or another, we'll get some content out as we move along through the week. Okay, you guys, here's the new name list popping up for you. Shout out to you fine people in the month of April. Look for your name. And please, if you feel like it's incorrect, if you feel like the maybe your placement on the list is incorrect or whatever, you don't see your name, reach out to me so I can fix it. I can only fix, what you guys tell me to fix, assuming it needs to be fixed. All right, so here you go. Enjoy, and I'll see you guys later on in the week.